everything from 7-Up and, of course, from Jimmer's Marine waiting in the wings, a bass boat to a possible 300 game. And this is one of the 2 participants who are going to have to get that 300 game, as we're down to the last 2. Steve Miner, the high pinfall yesterday in the qualifying, 14-12. And he opens the match with a little shaky 10, Dave.
A wiggling 10, and he got a break to get the 8 out.
Bo, as we mentioned, this is the final game of 1986 on the TV King, but by no means does this end the bowling season in Cincinnati.
That's for sure. We have a lot of tournaments coming up, and I'm just going to quickly run through it. Pin House is running today a family twosome tournament. Next Sunday at Fairfield Lanes, Big Brothers and Big Sisters, Bowl for Kids from noon until 6. Stone's 34th Annual Mixed Couples Tournament will start in April of 12th.
Not a very good way to start the match, week 10, and then flag it. You know, I noticed, though, when he was in shadow balls, he did not shoot but 1 shot cross lane. You always have to do that, guys. You always have to know what you're going across when you're playing a spare game.
Butch Temke coming off a 256. And he's picking up in game 3 where he left off in game 2. Solid 10 in the pit. Nice crowd here at the Pin House today. Bo, as we mentioned, all year long, the people who have helped put this show on the air, in addition to Channel 5 and the BPA, are sponsors, and we can't let them go by the boards in the final week without mentioning them.
We have some just terrific sponsors, and they've really showed up in force today. From Hudepohl, we have Bob Casey, who is 36 today, Leo Verlag and Ken Rippinger. Bob Elfers and his wife are here from 7-Up. Jimmer's Marine, Jim and Fern Horn, and Carl's Bowler's Paddock is not a sponsor on the show, although he has provided the really terrific plaques that we've been giving out every week, and of course the trophies that we're giving today.
I am going to go out on the longest limb I have ever gone out on. Back the boat up and give the keys to Butch Temke.
Ooh, boy.
He is lined up and throwing the ball as well as I've ever seen anybody throw the ball.
Well, it looks like after that ball by Steve Miner, he's going to need it, because I think Miner has made some corrections after frame number 1, and we're going to have a dogfight right to the end. This title isn't going to be put in Tempe's hands that easily.
Not at all, but we haven't seen him miss. As you look at the scoreboard there, the open frame, first frame by Steve Miner, missing a 10-pin could very well cost him the match if Butch is as consistent as he was the last game.
Miner right on the stick. Now, we saw Miner back in week number 6 over in Harrison Bowl, and he is from West Harrison, Indiana. He was in the first game, lost out to Doug Henderson, 248 to 224. The eventual king that week, the man we just saw go by the boards, to this man, Butch Temke. It was Greg Lothian. Boy, you said it, Dave. He is right on the mark.
The only thing that's going to stop him is himself. Watch this. Perfection. You've ever seen it before. You're seeing it right now. 10 pins in the pit. Every pin doing its job, Tommy. This guy is as good as I've ever seen somebody on our show. He's lined up and he is executing every shot.
But you really need it. I mean, when you come this far, oh boy, oh boy.
Well, there you go. Get the rubber hose out for me, Tommy. A gutter ball. Playing that critical outside line, it's going to happen once in a while. I would have never guessed it would happen to Butch. He's been in the pocket solidly every time, basically around the 2, 2.5, 3 board. That time he was on the 0 board.
Let's see how it affects him now. Lothian, we saw him touch upon the back of his leg and go into the channel the last time, and then strike in the last game. Let's see how Tempe does it. May have been affected more than... let's hope he can get back on track here.
That's what happens a lot of times, Bo. You know it very well. The player who throws one in the channel or hits his ankle will then overcompensate and throw the ball high. Butch Temke did exactly that.
It's a very natural reaction after you've thrown a gutter ball on that outside line.
The key for Steve Miner is how he reacts to that. The door wide open. Let's see, Steve Miner.
Tell you how he should react to it. 10 in the pit, right?
It's a good way to start.
A little light, the ball coming in not quite as strongly as he would like it to. Now, I talked to all the players about yesterday's competition, and they all seemed to say that this was as a competitive condition as they've seen. If you made a good shot, you wind up in the pocket and you carried 10 pins. You didn't have the area, but these bowlers don't want that. They want to be able to execute shots, and these are the cream of the crop, and you're watching why.
On the line, $1,800 and the TV King for 1986. Steve Miner, Butch Temke.
Bo, I'm sorry to see the show go. I've had a lot of fun. It's a pleasure working with you and Tommy, but bowling is not over in any degree. We touched on a lot of the things. You've got stuff coming up, and I'll tell you what, if nothing else, you don't want to get into tournaments, go to your local BPA house. Sign up for a summer league. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you won't get sunburned like I got sunburned yesterday, I guarantee you.
You know, we've got a good old day special just to get warmed up for the summer also on May the 3rd and 4th. Bowling will be offered at 50 cents a line at participating BPA centers.
There you see it, and you might use some of that time to practice this split, the 2-10. Comes from coming up way light in the pocket, the head pin going in front of the 2 instead of knocking it over. You have to hit the left side of the 2 pin, slide the 2 into the 10. It's close.
Something like that. Steve Miner, that may have been all he needed to win this match. I'll tell you, you get pumped up like that after an open frame by Temke.
Take a look at it here, Tom. Absolutely perfect. You're talking about it. The 2 pin threw a cross body block into the 10. There was no way it was going to stand up. That shot was perfect.
They call that textbook. Let's see Butch Temke coming off that gutter ball earlier, but doesn't look like it's affected him much coming down the stretch. And the paper is starting to run out in 86, but Bo, we've got good news in 87.
We sure do.
We'll be back.
That's right. WLW has assured us that bowling will be back on Cincinnati Style Channel 5 next year. We're excited.
What happened to the 12 weeks this year, though? I don't know.
They flew.
Boy, they really did. We've enjoyed coming your way, and we're down to Butch Temke and Steve Miner. Final match of 86. And boy, oh boy, this is going to go right down to the wire.
What's happened? This is fantastic. Says a lot for Butch Temke. He throws 3 perfect shots, throws a trash shot. Now what happens? Watch his reaction. He knows it's there. 10 pins in the pit. Butch likes it. He's back on the track, and he has regained the advantage in this match.
Steve Miner coming off that unbelievable split. 210. See how he does.
Going high, leaving the 4 pin. Very, very understandable correction for the frame before, being just a little bit light, and especially being very light on the frame before on the left lane. Steve Miner, relatively easy spare. At this point is 9 pins down.
6 games yesterday, Miner averaged 235 plus. He was the high qualifier coming in.
You know, the advantage for the high qualifier also is that they are guaranteed second place money. So Steve, by being high qualifier yesterday, was guaranteed $900.
Just to remind you, the winner gets $1,800, third place $750, and fourth place, a not too shabby $500.
Take a look at the score. Butch Temke, if he strikes in the 7th frame, would increase his lead to, well, be 9 pins there, but he'd gain the advantage of the double in the 6th frame, which would be 19 pins. Steve Miner's not out of here yet, Tommy. Take a look at it on the replay. The 4-9 will be the last 2 pins you see standing. Both bottoms coming in, tripped them both out. The ball is really working, going through the pins. He's got that all-important strike in the 7th frame working. Butch Temke, though, has been perfect, with the exception of the 4th frame. And that frame.
Went a little Brooklyn on that side, Dave.
Completely errant shot again. I'm not surprised that it happened, because, I mean, throwing one in the ditch has got to still linger somewhere in the back of your mind and come into play. That was a critical frame for him.
Maybe a $900 mistake, too. He takes out the 10 pin. You know, Bo and Dave, we've thanked everyone else. I think we'd be remiss in our duties if we didn't thank the great crew that we've had all year, led by Calvin Washington, our director. You know, there's so many people. J.K. Smith, Dave Palmer, Ron Whitaker, Jeff Moran, everybody. We've just had so many people on here all year that have just you know, at 4:30 in the morning when they set up, especially going to Lawrenceburg and driving all over the place. Timmy Hudson, I know I'm going to leave someone out, but everybody, guys, a super year. And it looks like before too much paper runs out, we're going to have super right to the end, Dave.
Well, here's the situation. If Steve Miner strikes in the 8th frame, and depending upon what his count is in the 9th, could take the lead or be all tied up going into our last 2 frames of this 86 season. What a way to finish the year.
A close match. It's very appropriate.
Boy, you know, 1986 has been good to us, and I certainly hope that you do take advantage of the summer leagues. And if you're a novice watching the show, I hope you get involved a little bit more, because bowling is a lot of fun. That may be the understatement of the century.
Split screen. Let's watch the reaction. The most critical frame of the match. Oh, absolutely perfect.
And not even a bead of sweat on the man's brow.
Tom, this is great. 9th and 10th frame, last match, last telecast of this year. We're seeing the 2 best of bowlers. The score sheet tells the story. Count is all important. With a 9 count or better in the 9th frame, Steve Miner will take a 1-pin advantage. But the 9th frame, he wants the strike. If he strikes out 9th and 10th frame, he's our king for the year, and there's nothing Butch Temke could do about it. Critical, critical shot.
Wow, the 10-pin standing.
Unbelievable shot. 9th frame. Absolutely fantastic. Ring and 10. Watch it. It tells the story. The 6-pin staying low, doing exactly what it's supposed to do, even hitting the 10-pin, but not going down. Terrible break. Carries a 1-pin advantage going into the 10th frame. Butch Temke can now strike out and win the title.
Well, the hammer is in his hand. You may be looking right now at the king for 1986. Butch Temke.
The whole shooting match comes down right here. He can take it out. Another errant shot. Boy. Maximum bad shot. Maximum yield. Perfect. Look at it there, crossing over. Completely errant shot. Head pin wedging itself between the 6 and the 10 and carrying them both out.
Butch Temke with the hammer in his hand and looking straight down the lanes at $1,800 here for the king of bowling. How about going out in style just like that? Butch Temke came in with the 2nd highest qualifying yesterday, but no matter. He came in with the momentum. Look at that, Dave.
He trusted here. Head pin doing the damage again. The 4, 5, 7, and 10. Last pin's down, but that ball's churning. It is working. Butch Temke is in the driver's seat.
And Dave, in thanking everybody on the crew, I left out one of our most important people, Bill Ankenbauer, the tape man who shows us those replays, and he's been right on the money all year. How about this one?
It's over.
One more time. Butch Temke is the king of Hudepohl's TV King of Bowling for 1986.
You know, Butch's sponsor, you're looking at him right now, A.J. Esterkamp with the green shirt on, has to be elated. He does sponsor Butch, and he does a great job.
So this is just for pin count. Butch Temke getting ready to be fitted for the crown for 86. How about that? Why not? 10 more in the pit. Oh, boy. What a game. Actually, what 2 good games Temke has rolled in taking out Lothian with a big 256 score, and now this one at 233.
Steve Miner just rolling for the count. It was a great finish. Steve, an incredibly bad break in the 9th frame. Hard to lose it that way. Heartbreaking.
Especially after making that 210 split earlier in the match. And you know, we have to credit Temke too. He did throw that channel ball, and it came off that very nicely.
Came right back with a double.
Well, it's over, folks. At least it's all over but the screaming for Butch Temke. When we come back, we will crown the champ. We will pass out the money for the last time in 1986 on Hudepohl's TV King of Bowling. Come back with us, please.
Seit mehr als 400 Jahren